It's time for another Trope Count, where we count all of the traditional small-town hot cocoa romance tropes in a Hallmark Christmas movie. The goal? Find the movie that racks up the most tropes. Will it be today's film? Let's find out. A great Hallmark Christmas film must fit the Hallmark feel-good formula. It's a genre of film with repetitive movie tropes that we all love. We will identify the tropes in the 4 trope categories: story, character, Christmas, and activity. It's all very scientific, and it's fueled by hot cocoa. Today, we take a look at the 2019 Hallmark film Christmas in Evergreen, Tidings of Joy, starring Maggie Lawson, Paul Greene, and Holly Robinson Peete. It's the second of the Evergreen sequels, and if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert. An author hired to write an article on the town of Evergreen meets Ben, a librarian suspicious of her motives, joins a historical society, discovers a long-lost time capsule advent calendar, doesn't move to Evergreen, but falls in love at the end. So grab some Christmas cookies and make a third wish upon that snow globe. Let's count the tropes that make up Christmas in Evergreen, Tidings of Joy. Once again, the movie begins with Santa narrating from the Evergreen book, introducing Katie, played by Maggie Lawson. She's a former child star who was Brad's older woman on an episode of Home Improvement. Riding on the train along the mountains of Vermont, Katie is taking pictures, draining her phone's battery. As she looks for a place to charge her phone, she loses her balance, bumping into Ben, played by Paul Greene. She asks Ben if he's from Evergreen, which he proudly proclaims. Born and raised on the playground is where he spent most of his days. Katie is taking some time off from writing her novel. She wants to experience the small town and needs a change of scenery from the big city. Not realizing she dropped her phone charger as she got off the train, Ben offers her a ride, but she's going to walk and wishes Ben a Merry Christmas. Overhearing her well wishes, everybody around responds,
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas! Oh my goodness, wow.
She gets a call from her mom, who offers her a freelance gig to write an article for the magazine she works for. It's a cover story and could lead to a possible future stable job, but her phone dies in the middle of the call and Katie realizes she lost her phone charger. The town of Evergreen is decorating for the holidays, where we get our first cameo of the film. Ashley Williams as Allie from the first Evergreen film is with her parents, Carol and Joe, who own the Kris Kringle Cafe. Katie bumps into Michelle, played by Holly Robinson Peete, who's watching them raise the small and poorly designed banner celebrating the 50th anniversary of the town festival. I mean, come on guys, it's the 50th anniversary. You're gonna put up that crappy banner? Anyways, Ezra, who's raising the banner, thinks it's crooked. Michelle points out that it's a tradition for the banner to be crooked. We also find out that Ezra will no longer be the mayor, losing in a landslide to Michelle. Katie interrupts, asking Michelle where she can purchase a phone charger. Michelle sends her over to Daisy's store, and they have everything, including another cameo by Jill Wagner as Lisa, who now owns the store, will be caring for Allie's pets while she's gone. Allie will be traveling to Paris, leaving Evergreen during her favorite time of the year. Katie asks Lisa for a charger, and after trying to sell her other things, reluctantly gets a charger that looks exactly like the one she lost. Katie catches a ride with Hannah to Barbara's Country Inn, where Elliot greets them. They talk about a secret hidden Christmas time capsule that might exist.
Christmas time capsule? Really? Really?
And Katie assumes that Hannah and Elliot are a couple, but not quite yet, Katie. Just wait till the next movie. Once her phone is charged, Katie gets a call from her mom, and she tells her that Evergreen may have a story for her magazine. The town is full of Christmas and possibly has a time capsule. Hearing that news, her mom hires her on the spot, and Katie takes a new job at Christmas. She begins researching the article, heading to the Evergreen Library, where Ben is reading to the children. She meets the librarian Nan, who begins to tell her some of the local Vermont history, including Robert Frost and Rudy Valley. But Katie interrupts her and says, Ben and Jerry. She tells Nan that she's looking specifically for Evergreen history, and she hands her a stack of old newspapers and shows her a hat that the town factory used to make. Yeah, I bought it. Ben overhears their discussion and asks Katie, is she a reporter? She tells them that she was hired to write about Evergreen, and Ben is concerned that she's writing a hit piece on the town. They both attend the Evergreen Historic Society, meeting at the Kringle Kitchen, where Katie sees the infamous Evergreen snow globe and makes a Christmas wish. She meets Carol, Joe, and Ezra, who are intrigued that she's writing about Evergreen, and Katie discovers that Ben is also a former journalist. The society talks about the rumored hidden time capsule from an archived newspaper. The newspaper article is about a blizzard that kept everybody trapped in town for a month. Residents passed the time working on a surprise time capsule to be opened at the festival's 50th anniversary, which is this year. Carol's parents and Hannah's grandparents were the residents trapped, and they may have created the time capsule, but no one can confirm or deny its existence, as they mention that all four are dead. Allie shows up in her red truck with Michelle, leaving for the airport. They all wish her well, including Nick, who we know is Santa in disguise, wishing her a safe travel.
I'm sure you'll have easy travels and all kinds of fun Christmas surprises.
Joy and Noel! Merry Christmas!
Ben asks Katie if she's learned everything about Evergreen, and she says, to be honest, it's a little too good to be true. She points out that Evergreen has a guy that looks like Santa on vacation. Ben says Nick comes to town around December, but he's from Burlington. Katie says the town puts on a good show for the tourists. Ben claims that this is the place to celebrate Christmas because they are not cynical. Suddenly, they hear glass break, and we cut to Hannah, who dropped and shattered the infamous snow globe while making a wish. Hannah apologizes and mentions that the globe has always been part of the town's tradition, and they suggest that Elliot may be able to fix it. Outside, Karen and Ben talk some more, and behind them, you can see that the red truck is still there. Amazing, since Allie already left in it. And she points out that he is masquerading as a reporter, but he is a mild-mannered reporter. Ben said he used to be a journalist, but he took the job at the library after his parents died. Nan, the librarian, well, she raised him. Katie and Hannah then take the globe to be repaired, discussing what she wished for, and Hannah admits she has a complicated relationship with the snow globe. They enter the Turner Tinker shop, and Hannah hands Elliot the snow globe pieces and asks if he can repair the globe. Looking at the pieces, Elliot notices a small key sculpted underneath the sleigh. They both question why, and suddenly, they look into each other's eyes. That night, at the inn, Nan asks Katie how the article is going. She says she finds it tricky because she wants to write about the time capsule, but nobody knows if it exists. And Nan starts talking about the time capsule, when Katie suspects that maybe she knows something. David, Michelle, and Hannah show up and invite Katie to make cookies. She's reluctant at first until Ben shows up, and then she decides to help with the baking. Nan pulls David aside and hands him some additional news clippings she found. Behind them, we get a gratuitous Ninja Oven product placement, baking Christmas truck cookies. We then get a baking cooking decorating montage that kinda goes on way too long. The next morning, Katie and Ben head to the tree lot using the same footage of the truck driving through the forest from the previous film. He tells Katie that the red truck is one of the most reliable things in town.
Not look like it or always act like it, but he's one of the more reliable things in town.
Except that when it keeps breaking down in the past two movies. They arrive at Henry's farm to pick up a tree, and Carol is there, and Katie wonders why trees smell like trees. Henry tells him all about terpenes and how they put off a smell to ward off the bugs. And with his tinfoil hat, believes that the scent rises to seed the clouds and bring on Christmas snow. Katie gets another call from her mother asking about the article, also inviting her to the magazine's Christmas party. Katie never goes to the party because she likes the small family traditions, but she will consider it. In the barn, Katie admires the sleigh and is in awe of its beauty. Henry says they used to hook up horses and ride this into town square. Carol often wondered if the sleigh was modeled after the one in the snow globe. Well, David, hearing that, climbs under the sleigh and finds a small compartment with a key. Magic sounds when Katie holds it in her hand, and David is excited he found another key that he can try to put in different holes.
I'm so excited, and I just
Ellie is working to put the snow globe together in the tinker shop while Hannah watches. He places the steeple on the church and now needs to let the glue dry. While they wait, Hannah tells Elliot about her mom, losing her wedding ring in this store and never finding it. The next day, David and Hannah are looking in the wall at the Kringle Alley. Carol tells them a story about how she would stick her finger in the knothole when David decides to stick the key into the hole, turns it, and the wood falls away, revealing the long-lost time capsule. Nan and Nick are relieved that people finally found the time capsule. They've been dropping hints for years, and the timing had to be just right for it to be found on December 1st. Chris shares the Christmas memory that 50 years ago, Carol's parents built a time capsule during the blizzard when everybody was stuck together. Carol asks the obvious question, why didn't they just tell them about the time capsule? Why keep it a secret? The Advent calendar is to be opened every day leading up to Christmas. Katie proclaims that finding it was, ironically, Christmas magic, so we'll agree with her. Michelle opens the box and finds a letter to the people of Evergreen. It's from Carol's mom and dad, and it has the long-lost family Kringle recipe. Back at the library, Katie is working on an article as they discuss Calvin Coolidge and writing with pen and paper instead of a computer. She prints out a copy of her article, but she doesn't take it, leaving it to sit in the printer. The article is called Dollars and Cents, Christmas in Evergreen. Well, Ben finds that article in the printer and he reads it. She writes that the town of Evergreen is all an act. His concern was right. This was a hit piece. She tries to reassure him, but Ben walks away. The next day, the town gathers at the calendar. They put the names in a hat from the Evergreen Hat Factory to determine who gets to open the Advent calendar. It's determined that Nan and Nick will open it, but Ben has to climb the ladder because they are too old. Inside are skates and scarves. They head over to Daisy's Country Store to help decorate the tree, and Katie talks to Lisa about why she returned to Evergreen. Well, turns out she ended up staying, dating a logging guy, opening the store, and now taking care of 2 dogs because there's a certain Hallmark star that can only make cameos. Katie meets Ben at the ice rink, and they apologize for getting mad at each other. She attempts to skate with Ben's help as he talks about his past, living in the city until his divorce. He came to Evergreen for a visit, but then Nan broke her foot, and so he stayed to help and never left. They are about to kiss when Ben is grossed out by a snowflake that lands on her cheek. We get a musical montage opening up the Advent calendar while Katie is still writing her article 2 weeks later. The article is due the next day, but she's afraid her mom will hate it. She will do a final pass on the article on the train when she returns to New York. Nan invites Katie to go caroling, wearing her mother's caroling scarf and angel pin. It's a family Christmas tradition. Katie is afraid she doesn't know the words, but will hum along. Who doesn't know the words to Christmas songs? Meanwhile, Elliot is looking to finish a snow globe, mixing up oil and water while Hannah looks for glitter. She reaches into the canister of glitter and finds her mom's wedding ring. She hugs Elliot and they both have an almost kiss. They all go caroling, singing Up on the Housetop with Ben playing his guitar. Later, they sit around the fire roasting marshmallows when Ben tells Katie she should stick around. She would, but Katie wants to spend Christmas with her mom. She has many great Christmas memories of watching movies and eating blueberry pancakes. Ben tells her that when they met on the train, he was returning from a job interview. Ben encourages her to stay in Evergreen for just one more day. She agrees, and Ben smiles. The next morning, Katie talks to Carol about recipes and learns a lot about Kringles when Elliot and Hannah drop off the snow globe. Elliot tests it out, making a wish, knowing what he wants, as he looks at Hannah. Hannah picks up a snow globe and also makes a wish, looking at Elliot. It's Katie's turn to open up the next calendar box and reads the letter inside. It states that whoever reads this letter should list the activities they love the most and have the entire town participate. Well, Katie chooses for everyone to build snowmen in front of the Christmas gazebo.
I gotta hand it to you, Katie. Building a snowman as a whole town, great way to spend the morning.
She then has a memory of building snowman and realizes she hasn't done it in years. Nan asks,
Who's got the carrot? Always have to have one handy.
she thanks everybody for making her feel at home and leaves with no hugs, just a wave. Katie gets on the train and says goodbye to Ben, kissing him on the cheek, giving us an almost kiss. Ben looks disappointed. The conductor announces the next stop is New York Penn Station from Vermont, meaning that this train is a non-stop direct run to New York City. Katie arrives at her mom's house where she's decorating the tree with the family ornaments. The ornaments remind Katie of a memory of her stocking, and her mom quickly changes the discussion, telling Katie that she loves the article, but not for the magazine. She thinks that Katie should publish it and tell the Evergreen story. Ben, meanwhile, has another job interview in New York and meets up with Katie for lunch for blueberry pancakes and red wine. Afterwards, they attend her mom's magazine Christmas party filled with Christmas foods. He asks about the article and she says it's not coming out, and Ben admits that he didn't get the job. They walk around looking at the Rockefeller tree, and we see Katie wearing a third coat, giving us the wears multiple coats trope. Hallmark ladies love their coats, and somehow they fit all of those coats in the one suitcase that they come when they arrive. Well, maybe Ben likes this blue coat because we get 2 early kisses before Ben heads back to Evergreen. The festival opens and Ben finds Katie reading the story to the kids at the library. Katie isn't moving to Evergreen, but she is going to spend Christmas in Evergreen with her mom, who has hot chocolate. Katie's mom introduces herself to Ben and then offers him a job writing for the magazine. Well, he accepts and takes a new job at Christmas. Nick, dressed as Santa, tells Hannah she and Elliot did a wonderful job fixing the globe. He admits that all she needed was a nudge, and we realize that Nick knocked the globe out of her hands on purpose.
I'm kind of glad I dropped it.
Some things just take a little nudge.
Nudge. Wait, Nick?
What a crazy way to have the time capsule revealed. Let's review. Santa nudges the snow globe out of Hannah's hands, breaking it. He then must count on Elliot to discover the key underneath the sleigh, leading to David finding the key underneath the real sleigh, sticking it in a knothole in the wall, and revealing the time capsule. Meanwhile, Nan is sharing a newspaper article putting the possible existence of the time capsule in residents' heads. It's a bit absurd, and I question why the reveal has to be so convoluted. It would have been less complicated to just reveal the time capsule, and they could have spent more time on what was in each box. The town then walks to the church holding candles with the bells playing, celebrating Christmas Eve. We then get 4 final kisses: Elliot and Hannah, Carol and Joe, Thomas and Michelle, and of course, Katie and Ben. We also get one final cameo with Mark Devlin, who played Kevin in the same outfit he wore last year and probably a scene from the previous film. Katie and Ben leave on a train, and we get a synopsis of what happened with a final kiss. So, how many tropes are in the third Christmas and Evergreen film? Let's count them. Looking at the numbers, the film where a novelist reluctantly takes a job from her mom to write an article about the town of Evergreen, meets a journalist who now works as a librarian, suspicious she is writing a hit piece on the town, where Santa Claus nudges Hannah, causing her to drop and break the snow globe, discovering a small key carved into the sleigh in the snow globe, leading the residents to discover a hidden key that reveals the time capsule behind a wooden wall created 50 years ago from bored residents trapped in a blizzard. It takes 3 weeks to write the article, only to leave Evergreen and not print it. Return to the big city, only to come back and celebrate Christmas in Evergreen, meeting up with Ben and falling in love at the end. If we add up the different categories, Christmas at Evergreen, Tidings of Joy has a total of 56 tropes. The third Christmas at Evergreen film brought back some of the magic that the second film lost. While we get quick cameos from Ashley Williams and Jill Wagner, they don't stick around very long. I think that's what bugs me the most about all of these sequels. The former leading characters make a dedication to move to Evergreen, and then in the case of Ashley Williams' character, leaves during her favorite time of the year for every movie. Did I miss any tropes? If so, tell me in the comments below. Christmas in Evergreen, Tidings of Joy has 56 tropes. That's one less trope than the first film, putting this one in second place. So, will the next film rank higher? Well, we will see with the next trope count as we conclude the Christmas and Evergreen films featuring Kia Bernard, Antonio Caone, and Holly Robinson Peete, getting the recognition they deserve in Hallmark's film Christmas and Evergreen, Bells Are Ringing from 2020. How will that movie rank? Click on the subscribe button to be alerted to when that episode is released if you want to find out. I'm the Christmas aficionado, and remember, stay off the naughty list.
Dear Evergreenians.
Everyone, and thank you for coming out to see what is in our second box.
Yeah, this train is like the Polar Express combined with the Hogwarts Express. There might actually be a story here.
In Vermont?
We didn't take our trees down till Easter.
Should we say some confusing things about our feelings before we walk away again?
The timing had to be just right so that you'd all be curious.
But not too curious.
There's really nobody that remembers anything.
Wow.
And that's where all the action takes place.
Should I call you when we're ready to take the next step?
Heads will roll.
For instance, I never thought in a million years that I would be dating a guy.
Wait, is that true?
Well, that was determined.
Is there a magical snow globe that comes out at Valentine's Day too? Christmas time capsule? Really? Really. Calvin Coolidge, super into Christmas trees.
That the town has managed to pull it off that long feels like a miracle sometimes.
I mean, what better way to prove that this isn't all some, like, Christmas hallucination? It's not what I was doing.
And, you know, I thought to myself, why am I so happy?
I am factually very happy.
24 hours in Evergreen and I'm already joining societies.
Look at those oddballs wandering around a Christmas village.
Actual tourist. We like Santa on vacation.
Yeah.
So you're masquerading as a mild-mannered librarian.
Everyone ready to open another calendar box?
My jobs in high school involved a lot more filing.
It's a terrible way to run a business. Whatever.
Christmas trees. Who knew?
Why do mine always turn out lopsided?
Thank you for letting me crash your meeting.
Whoa.
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 Whoa, unbelievable.
Fall?
Like Brigadoon?
Yes.
No. What happened to the let me explore everything in town so I can write about it girl?
There is one thing I really love doing, and definitely not often enough.
What is this thing?
Haven't done it in years. Hey,
Anything I can do?
with my mom and you.
It is pretty special. Hi.
I even talked to the twins that live on that farm outside of town.
Twin Pines Farm, yeah.
Old man Peabody owned all of this. He had this crazy idea about breeding pine trees.
There's that little knot in the wood right there.